Hello everyone, welcome to the Human Reviews channel, and today we are listening to the Pixies album, Surfer Rosa. John underscore sends this in. Warning, explicit album cover. I already know about the album cover with the boobies. The album cover could not be shown besides in this tiny little window down here on Tidal where YouTube won't be able to detect it. This album came out in 1988. It's 13 tracks, 33 minutes. A very brief album, very short album. Same as Doolittle was super short as well, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, Doolittle was 38 minutes. Two very short albums. Very short albums. Which, you know, I'm not going to complain about. I'm not going to complain about a brief, quick listen. These albums are very well received on Album of the Year. Yeah, look at these scores. Like, 82, 85, 80, 100 critic score, 99 critic score, 85 critic score. This 3-album run is absolutely beloved by the vast majority of people. And, yeah, Surfer Rosa is, like, considered up there with Doolittle. I've seen lots of arguments as to which of these two is the best. Not as much for Bossa Nova, but I've seen lots of arguments as to which of these two is the best. So now we can give the definitive opinion, ladies and gentlemen. I gave I gave Doolittle a flat 9 when I listened to it. Well, first an 88, which grew to a flat 9. So this album has big shoes to fill. It has very big shoes to fill if it wants to claim its throne as the better of the two. This album, of course, has some songs that I've heard. I've heard the track Bone Machine, I've heard Gigantic, and obviously I've heard Where Is My Mind. That song is iconic. It's huge. It's an incredible track. But besides that, I've not heard anything else. Let's get straight into this. Track 1, Bone Machine. Steve Albini's production is absolutely fucking incredible on this dude. It gives it the feeling of just like our live performance in like a big empty room, you know? Yeah, I've heard this track before a good handful of times, and yeah, I still think this song is absolutely incredible. It's a high 8 for me. A fantastic start to this album, a great display immediately. Surfer Rosa was their first album, so yeah, I guess this is like, as an introduction piece to this band on the whole, I think that this song does its job absolutely wonderfully. It's got that incredible Steve Albini production. I love his kind of like, what you see is what you get approach to production, where it's like, you know, however you sound live is however you should sound in your recordings as well, so to be as authentic as possible. And luckily, Pixies, from what I've seen, sound fucking fantastic live. So yeah, you're able to get something that's so raw here. You're able to get something that's so human, whilst hinting towards the more kind of esoteric, nightmarish stuff that would go on to be very prominent on Doolittle. I'm impressed as hell by this track, returning to it. Yeah, it's been a little while since I've listened to this one, but yeah, coming back to it, it's still just as great as I remember it being. Good shit. Up next we have Break My Body. Yeah, again, this like production style, this method of going about recording an album, it really forces the band to be at the top of their performance game. It forces them to really utilize dynamics. It forces them to really utilize their chemistry with one another, and it comes through so well here. Everything just has such a sense of fun and wonder. Like the band are like literally discovering what makes these songs great in real time and having fun playing about with it. Particularly on this track where it's very raw. This song gets incredibly quiet at points, but it still has so much emotion seeped into it and so much care being put into it because of the recording style and how the band are approaching this track, that it just finds a certain little spark, a certain little bit of magic that makes it work for me. I do maybe have a little bit of an issue with how quiet this song gets. I feel like the dynamics can be a little bit off at points. I like, definitely this song does have moments where, you know, I wish there was a little bit, you know, a little bit more meat on the bone. I wish the mix was a little bit thicker, but it doesn't like ruin the song too much for me because I think the actual musical elements here are pretty fucking fantastic. It's a low 8 for me. Something Against You. Oh shit. Yeah, yeah. These drums even feel like they would like influence Dave's roll a bunch. It's not even just the guitars. Reminds me a bunch of a song like Stay Away on Nevermind. Love how primal this is, man. There's something so animalistic about this album so far, and this song in particular. I absolutely fucking love the mania of this song. It's under 2 minutes. It's a big, fast-paced, in-your-face, like lightning fast track that, again, would remind me of what Nirvana would go on to do on a song like Stay Away on Nevermind, where it's just so fast-paced, it's so immediate, doesn't get caught up in the details, it's just all killer, no filler, with an absolutely insane vocal performance. The recording sounds like the microphone is like all the way back there, and he's like sat where I am facing this way, so it's all just the audio bouncing and hitting the microphone as quietly as it is, but he's given such a insane performance that it cuts through so well. I was incredibly impressed by this track. Looking at the runtimes of some of these songs, they're incredibly short, but even this shorter song is, you know, really, like, making its mark on this album. Solid 8. Broken Face. I got a broken face! I got a... I got a broken face! I got a broken face! Children with his sisters over his daughters. What song does that sound like? Fuck, which one is that? It's one of the songs on Nevermind. I forget that. Fuck, I forget which one it is. Lounge Act. I think it was Lounge Act, yeah. I think it is Lounge Act. Let me actually try and find the song that this reminds me of specifically on Nevermind. I think it's Lounge Act. Yeah. It's more this bit. This feels like a slower version of that Pixies song. Yeah, if I go back onto Broken Face, that where is it? Yeah, that vocal melody, the similar chord progression, it feels like, you know, Nirvana kind of took that, slowed it down a little bit for Lounge Act there. Yeah, the song, similar, it's basically same as the previous one. Chaotic performances, super fast-paced, minute and a half, in and out, all killer, no filler. Just a brief burst of energy, a little explosion to throw in here. Not the most impressive thing on the planet, but still, a great little 1 minute... yeah, just a 1 minute little burst of energy. That's the best way to describe it, really. 8.4. Gigantic. Oh, shit. Whoops. Oh, it's this song. I remember this. main reason you enjoy indie rock? Usually with indie stuff, because you're not like signed to a record label, there's usually a lot more room for freedom. Like you'll get less pushback from a record label, there's less like incentive to make something as commercially viable as possible. There's just much more of a sense of freedom with a lot of indie music, you know? And that's not to say that all artists that are signed to labels like dilute their sound or anything like that. But with indie music, you can a lot of the time feel much more of a sense of freedom. Yeah, Gigantic is another great track. I'm surprised at how much I'm like remembering the songs that I've heard off of this. Usually, when I've like previously heard tracks off of albums, they're kind of a little fuzzy to me because obviously I listen to so much shit I can't remember everything I listen to. But the songs I've heard off of this are surprisingly still pretty fresh in my brain. Like they really stuck with me whenever I heard them because I remembered Bone Machine, I've remembered Gigantic, and obviously Whereas My Mind Is Huge, I've heard that song countless times, so I'm gonna remember that. But yeah, Gigantic is great. Easily the best song on the album in my opinion, 9.2. Kim Deal's vocals getting the spotlight here is absolutely delightful. I think that her voice is gorgeous, and it provides like a nice little bit of contrast, especially with how manic, what's his name? It's Black Francis, right? Yeah, Black Francis. With how insane and manic his vocal performances are, getting something that kind of just feels more like a classic female rock singer with a great kind of like southern inflection to it as well. I think her vocals getting a moment to shine here is really sweet, and it really bumps this track up a decent bit for me. And not to mention, this is like the catchiest song in my opinion on the album that we've had up to this point. It's the one that has stuck with me the most out of the songs that I've already heard, and it's the one that's easily standing out to me the most out of the songs on the album in general. River Euphrates? I think that's the Euphrates, is how you say that. Yeah, here's what I'm talking about, like the contrast between the two vocalists, the duality you kind of get here. It's fascinating. It's such a strange combination, but it works. One of the most attention-grabbing songs we've gotten so far. Lyrically ridiculous, just the constant repetition of riding a tire down the river Euphrates over and over and over and over again, beating that idea into your head. You know, just that repetition, it's really punchy, honestly, especially when you're getting the best example of the duality and the contrast between Kim Deal and Black Francis vocals. You're kind of getting the two, kind of providing a lot of juxtaposition to each other, but also really combining to create something that feels, again, kind of being like in a dream state in the same nightmarish way that Doolittle did a lot of the time. There's not been any bad songs so far, man. There's not been a single track that's been like unimpressive at all. This entire thing is just coming together so beautifully. And we got Where's My Mind up next as well. Exactly, it's peak time. Oh yeah, Where Is My Mind is like one of the biggest rock songs of all time. Comparing it to anything else on this album wouldn't even be fair.
Where is my mind? Where is my mind? The water sits
Yeah, this song is fucking genius. Having the verses be this guy losing his mind, and then the chorus being the sudden snap back into reality, and it punches right back into the insanity. That back and forth is so good. Blueprint for the 90s? Absolutely. You can see bits of like grunge in this song. I can see how this would influence like a band like Radiohead with the guitar work. This has so much of like 90s alt rock and grungeisms in it. It's kind of insane that this came out in the 80s. I can see this having a lot of influence on emo music as well, actually. I could absolutely see a lot of emo music taking stuff from this, actually, from how raw it is, from how insane and completely mental the vocals are. I could see a lot of emo in this. It all stemmed from Chuck Berry, exactly. I was already emo at the time of this. I'm not saying this, like, invented emo or anything like that, but you can tell that a lot of, like, emo acts down the line, particularly, like, late 90s, early 2000s emo acts would take a lot from this. Where Is My Mind is, like, one of the best rock songs, like, one of the best, like, massive rock hits ever. It's an easy 10. Song is beautiful. It's, like, it's one of the examples where, like, a band's biggest song is arguably their best. I've obviously not heard every song from the Pixies, but I think Where Is My Mind is my favorite song I've heard from the Pixies. It's close between this and This Monkey's Gone to Heaven. It's close between those two tracks for my absolute favorite. But yeah, the amount of influence that this song has is undeniable on grunge, on alt rock, on emo music. The absolutely stunning imagery that this song provides of this guy losing his mind, being brought back into reality, and then snapping back into a manic episode, and that back and forth, that push and pull. It's disturbing. It's haunting. It's a fucked song lyrically, but it also is able to be so angelic. It's able to be so transportive. It's able to sound like there is so much color and light in this track. And it's that juxtaposition that I think Pixies kind of... they do it incredibly on the vast majority of their music, but they perfect it here. This song is like the easiest 10. Cactus. I forgot about the album cover. I was going to try and highlight a lyric, and I forgot there were boobies on the album cover. I might be cooked. Uh-oh. We continue. I hope they don't detect it. Cactus. A nice simplistic follow-up to Where Is My Mind. A nice kind of, I guess, calm down in how insane of a song Where Is My Mind is. That song definitely does feel like the centerpiece of the album, and it feels like we're just kind of getting a bit of a slowdown, a bit of a wind down, a fun, simplistic rock track that feels like it's calling back to some more like 50s, 60s influence stuff. You know, sounds a lot like that one T-Rex track. When did that T-Rex album come out? Like 1971? Something like that. It definitely feels like it's influenced by more like 50s and 60s stuff in the same way that T-Rex track was. Yeah, it's a fun track. It's like a low 8 for me. It's far from the best on the album, far from the most impressive. Didn't like completely grab my attention, but I think the sound of it is still great, undeniably. This deserves more than the last album. I don't know. I'll say Doolittle is a bit more of like an insane experience to go through. Doolittle is like such a monumental fucking nightmarescape to be in. No? Oh, you mean the last album we listened to? I know, that album had a bit more of an emotional connection to me. You know, I will say that this is probably going to be the more re-listenable album of the two. This is definitely going to be, like, one that I'm going to be able to come back to more. But I'll say emotional connection, the other album we listened to takes it for me.
This is a song about
Tony's
a
theme.
singer named Tony. It's called Tony's Theme.
Yeah. I agree with this. This album's still great, though. It's just, of the two, so far in this album, I'll say Doolittle's taking it for me.
It's called Tony's Theme.
It's definitely a standout in just how ridiculous we've gotten here. Maybe a little bit too much so. We have gone off the rails with this track, but I kind of don't mind it. People in the chat didn't like that one. I thought that was great. 8.4. Now, does it go a little bit outside the tone of the album? Have we gone a little bit far into the ridiculousness? Are we off the rails a little bit? Yes. But I don't care, because that song was so damn fun. It was one of the heaviest we've had up to this point. Vocals were rabid, absolutely. We got just the most unhinged vocal performance on the entire album on that track. And not only that, it's like under 2 minutes. It's just a fast-paced, like, in and out, doesn't waste your time. It's like, hey, here's the most ridiculous song on the entire album. Here you go. And look at that. It's already over. I can't complain about that song. That was really fun, in my opinion. I agree, definitely, that it goes outside the tone of the album a little bit, but it's not to the point that it's, like, album-destroying or anything like that. You know, in the same way, like, Pink Cell Phone is on White Pony. You know, it's not that bad. You know, I feel like a bit of a tonal shift, but the song itself is good enough to the point where I can defend it. Saturday Night Wrist, sorry, yeah, not White Pony. Fucking White Pony, Jesus.
Don't touch, anybody touches my stuff, and I said, you fucking die, like
that. Okay. Oh My Golly is up there with Tony's theme for the most ridiculous song on the album. The lyrics are in Spanish for some reason. It is, again, an incredibly fast-paced, super abrasive track. Doesn't slow down for a single second, no breaks, no pauses, no room to breathe. It's just straight adrenaline being pumped into the listener's ears, you know, the entirety of that song, and then it goes into the spoken word death threat outro, which is kind of fire. Feeling an 8.2 on this. Looks like we're getting some more Spanish on this song again. Yeah, the rising tempo is giving it like a balloon. I remember my English teacher when I was in year 9 showed us a video of like one of those massive balloons that just was constantly expanding, and you just sat there waiting for it to pop. I remember she turned up all of the volume on the fucking the whiteboard, and she played this video of like this balloon that was just expanding and expanding and expanding. It was like 2 minutes of just watching this balloon get bigger. And like that edge of your seat tension feeling is exactly what this song's giving me. Well, not to the same degree, but still, it's kind of what this song is giving me a little bit with the rising tempo here. I'm trying to remember why she put that video on. I think it might have just been to like get a reaction out of us, to be honest. Johnny Greenwood copy that. There's definitely been a lot of, like, very clear influence on Radiohead throughout this. Yeah, Johnny Greenwood and Ed O'Brien seem like they would have taken a lot of stuff from this album guitar-wise. I'm a little... I don't know. This song is the first one where I say I'm not absolutely in love with this track. It's like a solid 7 for me. There are a couple points in here, in this track, where I feel like it got a little bit too silly. It got a little bit too over the top. It felt a little ham-fisted at points. And I kind of was pulled out of this track a little bit. But for the most part, honestly, the song went hard. I think the constant kind of quarter note drum beat throughout this going this constantly increasing in tempo very, very slightly. It's not even that noticeable. Yeah, it constantly like is increasing in tempo, and it kind of creates that kind of ballooning effect, that kind of tension, that anxiety of like waiting for a big balloon to pop or something like that. That's pretty fun. I will say, for the most part, this track does work, but there's just a couple moments in here that kind of pulled me out of it that would make it so that I wouldn't return to this track on its own, but it still wouldn't be a skip in album context.
And fuck them at school.
I'm amazed.
All I know is that there was... he was gone. They just like... It was like so hush-hush. And then the next thing you know...
Another simple little minute-long, fast-paced rock track. They're kind of wearing on me a little bit. This one's like another like solid 7 for me. The spoken word intro wasn't the craziest on, and I will say this track didn't feel quite as abrasive or as fun as some of the others. It's still, I think the song's good. I think it's a fun little piece in there, and listening to the album, I definitely wouldn't skip it. But I don't know. The minute-long tracks have kind of wore on me a tiny bit at this point. But it's fine, because we're ending with a song that's over 2 minutes. And it's also the final track. Brick is Red, final song. The bass is heavenly. I think it's very fitting for an album like this to end on a song that doesn't feel like a definitive closer at all. It just feels like another song. I'm feeling an 8.3 on that. I think, honestly, for how ridiculous and all over the place this album has been tonally, for it to just end, sure, I don't mind. Yeah, Brick is Red is a fun track. Nice, again, nice duality between Black Francis and Kim Deal on this track. I think that lyrically the song is kind of fascinating as well. Very... kind of difficult to interpret what this track is actually trying to say. I don't know. I feel like the lyrics on this album, for the most part, aren't even meant to be interpreted. I feel like a lot of the shorter songs on this album are just meant to be, like, word vomit. And that song definitely feels like it as well. I don't know. It was a fun closer. Definitely a fun closer. Low 8 for me. And that was Surfer Rosa by the Pixies. Oh, sorry, just by Pixies, actually. It's not the Pixies. Just Pixies. It's a fun album. It's a fun album. I definitely would say I prefer Doolittle over this. I think that Doolittle is a bit more of a consistent listen. I think Doolittle is more of like an abrasive, super immersive listen. Lots of esoteric, nightmare, hellish tracks on that album. And this, it's just mostly a collection of fun rock tracks. Of course, you have like exceptions in the mix, like Gigantic, which I think is an incredibly memorable, punchy track. Where Is My Mind, one of the greatest like rock smash hits ever. I think Where Is My Mind stands as easily one of like not only the most influential rock songs of all time, but also one of the best. Like seriously, it's insane that song is landing on this band's debut album. Yeah, this album is solid as hell. It's great. It is a fantastic debut for this band. I think that this is immediately displaying a lot of their strengths, as well as a handful of weaknesses, some kinks that they'd iron out on their follow-up album, like Doolittle. But yeah, for a debut album, for a debut full-length album, this is impressive as hell. I am going to crunch the numbers, and I'm going to tell you what my overall score... Oh, never mind, Rodomar did the crunching the numbers for me. 84.5, we can up that to an 85. I'd say 85 is an accurate enough score for this. Yeah, 8.5, this sounds great. Solid, it lives up to its reputation. I'm definitely more of a Doolittle guy over this. I think that that's just a more consistent, more consistently intense and immersive project, but still, this is a great, fun rock album, evidently incredibly influential on the alt-rock scene, on the grunge scene, even at points on the emo scene of the 90s and even early 2000s. And I think that this album stands definitely as a must-hear if you want to see where a lot of the sounds of the 90s came from. And even if you just want a collection of fun, ridiculous, and at points pretty striking and damning impactful rock cuts. I love this. This is a fun album. Good shit. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this album down below and how it compares to other Pixies albums for you. You can check out my Doolittle reaction somewhere around here. Check that out if you haven't. That was a very fun reaction. Yeah, like and sub if you haven't. We are on our way to 4K. Links in the description to my Discord, my album in the air, my Twitter, and my other channels. Join the streams Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, and you can be here along with all of these people when we do reactions like this. And I'll see you all whenever I next stream or upload. Bye-bye.